Congratulations, you have just started a wedding business and you're ready to take the world by storm, but you only have a few dollars. So where do you spend those dollars on legal protections? Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about where not to spend them in the opening days, months, or maybe even years of your wedding business. Stick around. Hey out there, welcome back to Wedding Industry Law. My name is Rob. I am a wedding industry attorney, and in this video, we're going to be talking about 3 ways to save money if you just started your wedding business. 3 ways in which you're either giving money to some scam artist overseas, or you might be spending money unnecessarily. And so just a kind of a disclaimer here. Look, who I'm talking to in this video is somebody that woke up and they got a camera for Christmas and they want to begin taking photos of weddings as a business, or you woke up and you want to be a DJ. I'm not talking about somebody who has, $1 million in venture capital investors ready to go, or 16 partners that are ready to put in, or GoFundMe accounts. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about a simple single individual that has decided to go out, pursue the American dream in the wedding industry, where that individual is most likely to save money or not lose money for legal things that they might not need. Okay, so number 1 is this, and this would go for anybody, and that is paying for an EIN number. An EIN number is basically a social security number for a business, for a corporation or an LLC. It's the way that the federal government identifies, for tax purposes, employee taxes or revenue or basic income taxes purposes. And this is a number that most LLCs are going to need to even have a bank account to even get started. The issue is that if you go online and go, hey, type in EIN number, how do I get one? You're going to get 172 different companies in quotation marks that will sell you the EIN number. Like, hey, we help you get EIN numbers. It only costs $60. This is throwing money away. If you want to throw your money away, just send it to me. I'll take it. I'll gladly take it. But no, I'm just kidding. EIN numbers are free. It's kind of like your social security number was free. It's just you ask for it to the IRS and get it. And I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in following that link to the actual official government link to get an EIN number. But like I said, if you Google that, you're going to get a bunch of scams that you pay money and all they're doing is taking your information, putting it into the government's website and spitting out an EIN number for you when you can just bypass that whole process yourself. So paying for it, you're going to need an EIN number, but paying for it is throwing money away. So save that $50-$60, buy yourself a Frappuccino, buy yourself something nice from the nicer grocery store in your area. Don't go to the Piggly Wiggly, go to Whole Foods one week, okay? The second way to save money, in other words, to not spend money unnecessarily, is having some type of complicated corporate structure. Now, again, I'm not talking about people that have already an 8-figure business over here, 6-figure business over here, and they need to figure out some way to protect those assets or whatever. Again, I'm talking about a simple person, not simple person. We're all beautiful people. I'm talking about a single person starting a company on their own. It is likely not necessary for you to have some type of corporate structure where you've got a holding company for maybe like the intellectual property, and then you've got another one that actually holds the assets, and then one company that does the actual services, and it's the named entity, and having these things with subsidiaries, and this is over here or over there. These type of things typically are not needed at the beginning because you typically don't have assets to protect. You typically don't have goodwill to protect. You're not needing, because you're probably not making very much money at the beginning. You don't need to protect revenue in these ways or figure out ways to lessen your tax burden. That's what all these things are really all about at the end of the day, is asset protection and beating the man at paying taxes. So don't in most instances, do not allow someone to convince you that you need LLC 1 to own 100% of LLC 2 to, spread these things out all over the place. A simple business entity for you, meaning an LLC, which you're the single owner of, is most often going to be the best for you. Maybe a corporation might be good, but usually the Goldilocks, the perfect setting for most people starting off is just a simple LLC in whatever state you're in. But again, talk to a lawyer in your area. But again, probably just going to be an LLC where you're at, not anything more fancy than that. Now, once you start making money, once you start, you're conquering, you're out there slaying the business, so to speak, and maybe you're starting another company, then it's more likely that you're going to want a more complicated corporate structure to protect one business's assets from another business's assets and vice versa and what have you. So keep it simple, stupid is what they say. I'm not saying you're stupid, that's just the expression. The third area in which you can likely save your money, save your time, save your stress is simply registering your business, incorporating your business in the state or jurisdiction in which you are operating from. All too often, I would say almost 100% of the time, when my clients come to me for business registration purposes, they're saying to me, Rob, have we considered Nevada? Have we considered Delaware for incorporation purposes? Because these two states, these two jurisdictions, mostly Delaware, have notoriety for being where most major corporations incorporate. There are going to be many reasons why the individual just starting off with their camera, with their DJ gear they got for Christmas, do not need to consider this, of course, unless they live in those states. They don't need to consider this because the concept of incorporating in Delaware or in Nevada stems from a couple different things. Number one is tax advantages. These states offer certain incentives, whether it be registration fees, filing fees, annual registration fees, taxes, these type of things are advantageous to corporations that are making a certain amount of money, okay? The typical person just starting off wouldn't benefit from that. So if you're in Washington State and you're having to worry about, what's going on over at Delaware, that's a hassle for you that you don't need because the advantages from that you're not going to see. The other principal reason why Delaware and Nevada are used, mostly Delaware, is because of its, for lack of a better word, the judges and the court systems there, because there's been so much corporate litigation there, are far more advanced than the rest of the country. Not saying the rest of the country isn't doing good, but what we would call the common law, the jurisprudence, so to speak, of the guidelines of how companies can buy and sell one another, the duties that the owners of companies owe to the stockholders of the board of directors. These type of things are more fleshed out in Delaware. So it's more advantageous in Delaware from that component where, oh man, like it's much easier to do a corporate buyout, or it's much easier to understand my fiduciary duties to my board if I'm in Delaware, blah, blah, blah. Again, you don't, that will have no effect on your, 30 weddings that you're doing as a florist, right? So it's probably not worth the hassle of worrying about having to go to Delaware and do this stuff or go to Nevada and do this stuff, because you're not going to be reaping the benefits that Coca-Cola, IBM, Apple are reaping from being in Nevada or Delaware. So save your money there. It's probably cheaper to do it to form an LLC in your own state anyway, and you're going to have to deal with the issues of registering your company as an out-of-state company where you're at from Delaware, blah, blah, blah. Probably not worth it. But again, have that conversation, but take it from me, it's probably going to be the situation where you're not going to be reaping the benefit from that. And there's one more thing that I would recommend that you don't spend your money on, and that is, don't spend your money on an attorney that charges you an hourly rate to incorporate your business or to generate contracts for your business. These are things that an attorney should be able to do on a flat fee. So I'm not saying don't pay an attorney. Obviously, pay your attorney. But my recommendation to you is to when you approach the attorney and say, hey, I need, client contract number 1, I need client contract number 2, can you form my LLC? Can you, advise me with regard to operating agreements or bylaws if I've got a partner or whatever the case is? These are things that you want to know what you're paying for up front. You don't want to worry about like, oh, it took me a long time to figure out how to do the bylaws for you, so that's 10 grand. You want to stay away from that. You want to know what you're going to be paying for ahead of time. So as a new company, as a new wedding entrepreneur, seek out flat fee arrangements with attorneys, and to the best you can, stay away from hourly billing. Congratulations again. You are a new wedding business. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification icon, and new videos are out every week. And with that, folks, we'll see you next time.